Is it the same one you think you wonder?
All right.
I said, I wonder.
It is Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. Thank you, Genius by Birth. Thank you for popping in early. Thank you to all the Foogle family. It is 25 days without a regular Foogle fam gathering like this. So thank you, everybody that has made it. If you are new here, we're going to go over all of the news. Let's get right into it. Crime plunges in Washington, D.C. after President Trump launches this historic crackdown. Now, this historic crackdown also consisted of him putting National Guard on the street. Not everybody is, of course, on the same page. In fact, if it's him, if he makes a decision to, I don't know, paint a wall gray, half of the people are going to be writing articles about it saying it's the worst thing in the world, and half of the people are going to say that gray is the new gray. Again, it's pretty crazy how split they are. But I wondered, a lot of these things that are happening, there is just a cut and dry kind of media narrative that there's one side versus the other. I think that in a few of these instances that there is a third option, fourth option, fifth option that may be due to us not knowing the full truth on it. But this, of course, this is obvious. If you have National Guard on every corner, that crime is going to plunge. And it did plunge. This is actually kind of insane. Let's just go over this. There's a key factoid here that recent reports show that Washington crime has plunged in the past 2 weeks. Property crime dropped 19%, which I'm actually surprised that that's a huge amount, but I'm surprised it didn't drop more considering how much other crimes have dropped. Violent crime dipped 17 to 22%, depending on the source. Robberies and muggings have dropped 40 to 46%, and carjackings have dropped 83%. I guess they're like, there's National Guard out there. I'm not going to be checking doors. And the average murder rate in D.C. is one person perishing every 36 hours to the hands of another. There has not been a single murder since August 13th. So again, that is now 12 days, and not a single person has perished due to another. Now, this is a big thing to hurrah because a lot of people are saying, hey, crime is plunging. But how long can we keep National Guard on our streets? This isn't the big story of today. This is probably one of the smallest, and we are now back. So join us for today's show. It is going to be a good one. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough.
The flag above you, is it the same one you think you wonder? I said I wonder, the flag above you, is it the same one you think you wonder? I said I wonder, is someone taking over under the golden dome?
All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. Excuse the, I don't know what they call this. Beanbag. It is 100, and it actually went down 2 degrees. It is 104 degrees in my mother-in-law studio shack here. There is no heat, no AC. It is kind of a homemade shack kind of furnished room thing. So it is very, very hot, and this thing is keeping me alive right now. It sits in the freezer and is cold. So I don't know what I would do if it was earlier in the summer. Luckily, it's kind of the end of the summer. We've had this like crazy heat wave. It's a heat wave for us. In Seattle, if it gets anything over 80, we whine and moan and cry, including myself, cry every single night to sleep because it is really, really bad. Our bodies are not adjusted to us. Most of our houses don't have full-on AC. There's a lot of people that have AC, but usually they're like the small, crappy ones you get at Home Depot. They're not like, built into the homes. We don't have those, giant ones. So when it gets like this, not only do we have unexpected power outages, things that we're not, expecting, but we also have, just the crappiest time ever. So thank you guys for your patience on the 25 days without shows. We are back. There is a lot to go over. Of course, I did cell phone updates. There's a lot of crazy things that went down, including this whole deploying of National Guard to the streets. Without further ado, let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Fugle fam. I'm doing just fine.
Now, this is our first show with this setup. If the sound is off at all, and don't, every time we say this, a couple people troll. If the sound is fine, let us know it's fine. If Dex is louder than myself or vice versa, or if the music's too loud, let us know. This is literally a new setup. And thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. Thank you even for the support through the crazy time here. Basically, we were not able to do a show for 25 days. So it really, really sucks. That's basically the entire month. And it was not by choice. We had the house we were living in, the owners decided to sell it. So we did have 90 days notice, but we also, even with 90 days, to move inside the same state and to essentially spend less for a house, it was almost impossible. So we kind of got lucky with a family thing, and I'm very, very blessed to say that we even have a home and a roof over our head right now at all. So I really, really appreciate all of you that have waited through this, through thick and thin. 25 days, it also took Xfinity to hook up a freaking cable, essentially a spliced line. All right, and then Marantha Soon, member for 26 months. That is awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then, of course, Briar Patch, before we get started, Fugle Family Reunion. Yes, that is awesome. And then Genius by Birth, thank you again for gifting out 10 badges. Thank you, Genius by Birth. So glad to see you all here. I've missed you all. And then thank you, Jammer1 for hitting 27 months. You've got to be, that's 27 months, I think, is like, I don't know. Has anyone hit 3? I think, Jammer, you would be in that. So I think 27 months is the longest somebody has been. Jonathan Floming, member for 20 months. So great to be back. Blessings all. And then Sweating Ministries, member for 15 months. Jesus coming. Shofar blown on the Temple Mount. Oh, yeah, there's all sorts of insanities going on right now. And Independent, Silver Wolf, and so many more. Rochelle Cooley. Cooley Rochelle says, Marf, Dex, and family, I missed y'all. Well, we missed you too. James, Renev, TJ Dilly, Tracy, so many awesome people. Thank you guys for waiting for us. I can't say enough. Okay, and then thank you, Sweating Ministries, Jesus coming. So the Rapture High Watch this 22nd through the 24th of September on the Feast of Trumpets. And then, of course, Jeff B. Marf, the real story is what Bobby sent you. I will have to see that. Bobby, I will have to look for that. Dex, can you see if you can grab what Bobby sent us?
I think they're talking about, when we talk more about what's going on in D.C., I think I understand what they're talking about. So
okay. All right.
If you want me to dive into it, I can, because it's relevant to the first story.
Yeah, if whatever it is.
Yeah, so, as you think about, like, the crime reduction in D.C., but why the rollout of the National Guard, why the takeover of the federal police, why the, looking into the Smithsonian and the potential tunnels that were under there. I know we've covered all of these different, theories on it. Like, is there something besides just the crime? One of the other things that's going on, and that was reported on a few days ago, was that there's a whole lot of JAG attorneys that are now being sent into D.C. And this is not theory. This is actually reported. So the Department of Defense has sent in military JAG attorneys to help, as they say, deal with the crime issue, as if they're going to need these additional attorneys. And I guess they can play a certain role at a federal level. But it also lends the question: is there something more there too?
And these are all issues that these are all stories we covered. Is there anything on that list that I didn't cover over the break even? I don't think so. The super, that's so weird. They just happen to investigate the Smithsonian, and there's always that public facing story that is so easy for people to grab onto and be like, oh, well, he's just doing it because, all of the woke stuff, and they're trying to make sure that they're not, teaching bad stuff and changing histories and doing it right. It's super, super weird. The Smithsonian is a place that has underground tunnels. It is one of the most famous places that has, a crazy, crazy network of tunnels underneath it. So why are they investigating it, right? Or looking into it? I don't know if they use the word investigating, but yeah, very, very crazy. And then let's get to our next story. We're going to fly through these. Of course, Pentagon working on plans for military deployment in Chicago, Washington Post reports. Now, I briefly talked about this, but there was a couple other cities that are possibly on the chopping block too that are rumored. There's already talk on, of course, Twitter with some of the big names that are kind of close to these people. And they're saying that many of the cities that have been mentioned are sanctuary cities. So I don't know if that is, I'm not going to say that is true, but we do have confirmation at least that Chicago is possibly in the works. Now, the deploying of National Guard to a city like this, obviously it has changed. We just saw that Washington, D.C. crime plunged. They have not had a single murder in 13 days or 12 days, going on almost 2 weeks. So, is this something that we should be hurrahing? We can't keep that forever. Can National Guard hang out on every corner? Dex, I mean, it's not like we can have National Guard forever.
Well, look, you can clean a city up with from crime by having a stronger police presence. Some will question, is the police the right thing because of the way they like to label the police? But I mean, look at what happened in New York. New York's gone up and down in its history. There was a time when, New York had a very bad rap, and they brought in a lot of police officers, invested heavily in policing on the streets, and the place cleaned up. And it was nice to walk around in the city of New York, and then it got bad again. I think it's really clear, and I hate to say it, but there is a political side to this. When you look at the towns that, the cities that run certain ways, they make certain laws that I guess, are on their side of the politics, and it goes hand in hand with whether it's a sanctuary city, whether they do cashless bail, whether they, defund or don't spend as much or pull back the reins on the policing. Crime is higher there, or at least it appears that way. People from the outside will say no, but when you ask the people inside, they'll tell you, yes, help us. That we see that all the time. But the other thing Trump did today is he signed, and this one hasn't really been talked about much. I listened to his speech. He signed one of the executive orders was on cashless bail. They are going to defund or remove federal funding from any of these cities that have cashless bail systems. So if they continue to do that and don't change their rules around the cashless bail, they're going to lose their funding from the federal government. And that was an executive order. I didn't read the details of it, but I did hear the announcement of it today.
Yeah, and as far as the cashless bail, I have seen that. So my friend not only got his car stolen, but got assaulted in the process. And he actually ended up following through, talking to the cops, and ended up following the guy that got booked in. They essentially just booked him in, sat him in a room for about 15 minutes, and then kind of released the guy. He was not only a carjacker, but he was a carjacker / attacker. He grabbed my friend and, essentially took the car. So that's a very dangerous and really insane thing to do. Most of the time, there's usually hard drugs or something else involved for somebody to do that. Usually carjackers are pretty sleek. They go in, under the cover of night, and they don't do that kind of stuff. But here in Seattle, it is bad. Now, I'm not exactly in the heart of Seattle. I'm outside of it just a little bit. But it's still the same. Within about 30 miles of Seattle, it's all the same. And the state, the way that it's run, I am personally seeing things that I do not believe that a lot of you in some of the Midwest states, and Dex, I don't think Georgia is much like us at all. I mean, do you have...
The city of Atlanta is, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you do have kind of a very... very, very over to that city. And then like, what was in Arizona, or what is the, Austin, Texas? Is that the one? What is the city in Texas that is super?
Austin.
Yeah. So like, there's these kind of one-offs in certain states that really, really go far to one direction. And we're not against anything. Like if you are on the left or the right, I don't care. I honestly, I think it's really stupid that our culture has put so much focus on whether you're this or you're that. That's stupid. Putting people in two different checkboxes is absolutely a word that I can't say since 1999. Okay, it's just stupid. It's special. It's extra. And I think that it's how we've been trained now. But as far as the cities and how they run, that's the best way to describe it. But Dex made a great point. It is cashless bail. It is sanctuary cities taking in everybody. And we're talking about a 4-year period where it was so strange. I mean, how many people were getting carted in that people could just go to your local Walmart here in a sanctuary city? I've seen it many times. I've seen it at least 3 times now, where there's groups getting taken out of a hotel shuttle. Literally, like there was the Sheraton and the red, not the Red Line, a nicer one that dropped off at Walmart, and one of the worst Walmarts. And 8 or 10 people get out. They're escorted by a person. The person takes them back to the sleeping bags / blankets and pillows, and they get them a card, and they use that card. If you work at Walmart, chime in. Have you seen this? Like, it's absolutely crazy. And it was so coordinated. Now, I've been following this all the way past, obviously 2017 is when I started covering all of this stuff. And when it really, really started to change is after 2016, after Trump got put in office. But 2020 through 2024, that's the scary part. You're talking about millions coming in, and some of them are possibly even military from another country. We're not just talking about bad guys that might steal your car. We're talking about bad guys that might coordinate an event that's worse than 2001. And everybody's got their theory about 2001, who coordinated that. But the same thing, like it's a massive event that is, in my belief, happening right now in front of us. And it was very obvious, and they always have that front-facing story. Much like, deploying this to lower the crime sprees. Right now, these are all of the places that are rumored are now sanctuary cities where these people are. The huge push for immigration, the crazy response on the border, the deploying 4 destroyers to back up our border mission. They are locking our country down. And I think that people need to wake up. Like there's something much, much bigger going on than what they're saying. So don't be asleep. Quit hitting snooze. Get prepped up because you might need it. And then Trump mobilizing up to 1,700 National Guard troops in 19 states to widen crime and immigration crackdown. Which states? I bet you can guess. Dex, do you want to talk about this? And
Sure, it's Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Mexico, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, Wyoming. It's a lot of states. Texas is supposed to have the largest deployment, which would make sense when you think about any of the immigration portions of this. But the real question is, how much is this immigration versus how much of this is crime? Or is there something else going on to mobilize National Guard across all these states? Now, on one hand, you might just roll and say, okay, it's just 1,700. It's 19 states. It's less than 100 per state. It's not a lot. I have a sneaking suspicion it's probably going to be more than that as it ramps up and rolls out. But I think you could, even if you just treat it as each state has one big city, okay, well, maybe that's an extra 60 to 80 people. patrolling streets in a city. That could be one way to look at it. Or is there something else going on here? And will these numbers actually grow? And it's just the start of something big.
And this is a very, very crazy thought, and I'm not saying to believe this, and I'm not even saying to worry about this. But really think about it. What if they are putting National Guard on our streets in these certain places because these are hubs for some sort of coordination for some sort of event? What if they have information that we don't, which they do? What if they have intelligence or some sort of info of a potential attack that is in the brewing stage right now? That would make a whole lot more sense than what is going on right now. Or at least what is being said. To just out of the spur of the moment, just to clean up crime like this, yes, this is something that every politician wants to say, like, oh, we'll clean up crime. But he is really, really, really using some of the most extreme ways to do this right now. Not other things, not other pressures. There's all sorts of things on the chopping block of things that were on the list that the president wanted to change. There are certain things that have come to the very, very top of this pile, and this is it. This isn't like, oh, I'm fulfilling a campaign promise. He's on his back four, so he can't become president again. A lot of presidents that might have a second term, they really, really think carefully about what they do, and because they're, the second 2 years is them trying to fight to possibly get So it's very, very crazy. Now, before we move on, I want to remind you guys, we are completely independent. When we go 25 days without having a show, it hurts. But as well, any affiliate that we do have, these ads, nobody likes ads if you're new. And these ads are all things that we believe in, that we use, that we have not only have used in the past, but use on a daily basis. As far as EMP Shield, this is a device that can wire into your home, your cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, and it will protect you against not only an electromagnetic pulse attack from any adversarial country, but it can also protect you against a Carrington-level event. It will protect your car, truck, or motor or generator, and it will ground that signal in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it can fry your device. That means when everybody else's stuff is basically fried, yours is starting right up. Your car is getting you home. Your car is getting you out. Your generator is going to start up, whether it be gas or electric in the case of the energy or the grid down units. All of these will be protected. If your home is wired, and this is a really cool thing, if you've ever spent $40, $80 on some crazy surge protector for just your computer, think about this. Once this is wired into your home, your entire house is turned into that expensive surge protector. And this is probably the price of 3 or 4 of those. So this is a really, really awesome thing, especially on the car models and motorcycles and things like that. If you want to have those going, and if you're hardcore, I would say then you need to have one of these on your car, truck, or motorcycle or boat. Go to marfoogle.com/EMP. There's a $50 off discount with every unit, and you're helping our channel. These are all things that we truly believe in. We think that they're going to save lives. So make sure to not only go over and check them out, also check out, obviously, everything over at our website, including our awesome mods over at marfooglenews.com/friends. Great people over there. Make sure to go. All right. Thank you too, by the way, all of the mods that have already popped in. Bobby Sue, thank you, Joshua Minor. Ilea says, welcome back. Thank you. Missed you guys. Hey, Ilea, and I wasn't expecting that voice. I thought it was going to be an echo. I'm going to heart this here. Thank you. And let's see here. Oh, shoot. Why can't I click on that? Okay. Inquiring Minds, thank you. Glad to have you back, Adam and Dex. Stephen McMahon, nice to see you. And then thank you, Ryan Alter. Thank you, Genius by Birth. And of course, thank you, Aaliyah. It's awesome to see all of you here. I wish we had everybody like Rip Curl and probably one of my favorite people, CJ Blaze, haven't seen in a long time. Thank you, Chance. Thank you, Bones. Wages, miss you, buddy. And then, of course, Trinity, love ya. Hope to see you soon. All right. And then let's go into the next piece. Iran Khamenei calls U.S. issue unsolvable amid the nuclear standoff. Dex, you want to go into that?
Yeah, Iran's supreme leader said the current situation with the United States was, quote, unsolvable. So, and that Tehran would never bow to the pressure or obey Washington amid the standoff with the Western powers over its nuclear program. So again, we're getting right back to the same rhetoric we were in before the quote unquote 12-day war, as they call it. So maybe this is a part of negotiations on the Ayatollah's part, but I highly doubt it. I think it's more of the same as we've seen before. I don't know that anything really changes. Status quo, everything just continues to move forward. They hate the West, and they'll continue to saber rattle and fight against anybody as they find the funds to do it. That's my opinion. But certainly doesn't sound like they're moving towards any semblance of negotiating and coming up with a nuclear resolution to solve the problem.
No, it doesn't. And, with Iran, they're going to say almost the same kind of statements no matter what happens, no matter what kind of peace talks are held. They always have these kind of locked and loaded, ready to say. All right, thank you. Craig Alicia says, welcome back, gentlemen. It's really awesome to see all the old school Fugel fam coming in after 25 days and popping in on our first show. Iran readying for a second round as Hezbollah braces for war, ex-IDF intel officer warns. So, you have to take everything with a grain of salt when you have information just going out every 5 minutes that you don't know if it's truly going to happen. It will happen if it has happened at this point with the media. But now they're saying that they are going to go for a second round, as they call it, right? Ex-military intelligence officer warns of a looming confrontation as Syria pushes for a 1974 deal with Israel. IDF Colonel Dr. Jacques Naraya, a former senior officer in military intelligence, warned on Sunday of an impending second round against Iran, saying Hezbollah operatives have been instructed to distance themselves from their phones in recent days. Now, that makes sense, especially when certain phones could go pop in their pockets. And then it says there is a sense that a war is coming, that Iranian revenge is in the works. The Iranians will not be able to live with this humiliation for long, he told Udi Segol and Anat Davidov. It says if the reports are true and that there will be a meeting between the two leaders, this is huge news. We dreamed of this. We wanted this. And now it is coming true before our eyes. To continue the quote, it says, in different circumstances, this would have been the headline across all of Syrian media. Who hasn't dreamed of a peace agreement with Syria? Because of the circumstances they have developed on the ground, we will probably reach a security agreement. The Syrians want to return to the 1974 disengagement agreement. As proof that they are serious, they're intercepting Hezbollah weapons shipments and preventing the terrorist organization from rebuilding its strength. It says, quote, this stems from a convergence of interests. The Syrians want the Israeli front to remain quiet. There is a strategic move here where Syria, under the rule of Ahmad al-Sharaa, has managed to break the chokehold that Iran tried to place around Israel. Dex, do you think this is kind of interesting, especially considering the actual theories about, the whole Syrian takeover in the first place? Being that the guy that Sharaa guy, that is the guy that did all the CNN interviews, that was former Al Qaeda and now is this, blazer wearing a revolutionary. Is this right. Is the same guy, right?
It is. And I wouldn't say he's an Iranian supporter. So to see this type of agreement and the fact that Iran might lose the ability to build up and maintain Hezbollah, because they basically have to go through Syria to do that. That can obviously create havoc with Iran, and it's Iran has always wanted to be the strong leader of the Middle East, and they've always held that big position. That's why they've got their tentacles to Yemen, through into Iraq for a long time, and still through Iraq, and they still have quite a bit of influence in there. Obviously, they were the stronghold in Syria until recently, and then obviously in Lebanon with Hezbollah and others. So, yeah, this is not a pretty picture for Iran.
But I mean, this in my head, and this is just my personal opinion, I think that this totally makes sense why Syria got taken over in the first place. This is 4D chess that we're watching being played out. If you don't remember this guy, which you're seeing the back of him right now, he magically was on the Al-Qaeda terrorist list for the United States, had a $10 million bounty on his head. Within 3 days of everybody finding this out, he's on a CNN interview talking about how they're taking over Syria and all of this. I mean, it was 11 days they were able to take the Syrian government out or regime and change it out. You saw the videos of them going into the central bank of Syria and raiding it, people with huge stacks of cash on their freaking shoulder. I don't think those people were just civilians. I think that those were special operators, and they were most likely tied into U.S. interests or Israeli interests or Turkey interests or whoever this was. This guy is just a puppet. He's another leader that was put into that place. And isn't it magical that his $10 million bounty got undone? Dex, am I correct? They did drop that $10 million bounty for the U.S. terrorist list?
Yeah, I mean, look, this happens all the time. It's history repeating itself. We fund this organization because it gives us an advantage at the moment. And then later that organization turns around and stabs us in the back because we don't do what it is they wanted us to do or whatever. You can probably rewind every deal America has made in the past from, even the fall of and change in Iran to the creation of the Strip, at least with Israel and others, that, there's always been these decisions, and these decisions are always made at the moment. And you might think there's some strategy to it for the long term, but ultimately it's not going to work. But look, it's not like they're going to get somebody who is the absolute perfect model of the Western's best dressed, supporter, because that person wouldn't be able to lead the people in that country. The people in that country want to be led by, somebody of their ilk. And this guy happened to be one of the strongest. So they backed him, is my take on it. They picked the lesser of the worst, of the person they thought they could influence the most and could actually have some sort of success in leading. And they puppetized him. If it's that much, he may not really be a puppet. He may just be acting for now to get his power and then turn on us later, just like we've seen time and time again with all Middle Eastern strategies.
I can only imagine if you're wanted in a state, like, you're on, in my state, Washington's most wanted, or if you're in Texas most wanted, that it would be pretty nerve-wracking. But imagine if you're on the U.S.'s most wanted and you have a $10 million bounty on your head, and then they just wipe it away. The U.S. is, in my opinion, the U.S. is partially behind the Syrian takeover. And I don't know how people don't see that. Like, how do people not? That's like saying you don't see the feathers of a peacock when it's fully like splayed out. It's like, is it a crow? Yeah. Very, very extra. And then Russian nuclear power plant damage in Ukrainian drone attack. IAEA monitors radiation. Real quick, thank you, Sweat and Ministries. And then thank you, Kimbria, says, missed everyone. Thank you, Ilea, Randy, man, James, Shirley, man, Guns and Water. Thank you guys for also saying thank you as well. Thank you, Kimbria, and I appreciate it. Nice to see all of these old school Fugel fam coming out for our first show in a long time. So thank you. In another dangerous escalation, Russia has accused Ukraine of launching a drone strike on the Kursk nuclear power plant, which sparked a fire and damaged an auxiliary transformer, resulting in a 50% reduction in the output of the reactor number 3. Several other energy facilities were also reportedly targeted during the overnight strikes, involving likely hundreds of drones. Russia's military said that it intercepted nearly 100 of them across the various locations in the south. However, the press service also noted that the 2 other reactors are currently not generating power, though one of them is undergoing scheduled maintenance. Perfect timing, right? Reuters additionally details, quote, Ukraine launched a drone attack on Russia on Sunday, forcing a sharp fall in the capacity of a reactor at one of Russia's biggest nuclear power plants and sparking a huge blaze at the major Ust-Luga fuel export terminal. So they hit an extremely important target here. This is something where you're going to see something kick out of this. This is definitely going to kick up some dust. The IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, weighed in on the Sunday attack, saying that the agency is monitoring the situation and that the radiation levels around the Kirk's plant remain normal. So, who knows if we'll see some sort of crazy, plot of a movie kind of scenario happen out of this, but it's definitely going to be a big escalation, if you ask me. All right. And then Joshua Minor, please trust in Jesus, the Christ finished work on the cross. It's not about you or what you do or don't do. It's about relationship and acknowledging it's all him. Please hit the like for these guys. Hey, thank you, Joshua Minor. And I seriously appreciate all of the support today. It's been a rough month. So to see all of you guys coming out is flipping awesome. Thank you. And by the way, I'm trying to say flipping instead of even freaking, because my 5-year-old just keeps saying freaking everything. It's like, I'm not even worried about him getting in trouble for saying freaking, or I'm not even ashamed of it. It's just annoying at this point. And I realized I was saying it every time, trying to obviously not say the worst word. So now I'm saying flipping. If you guys are annoyed by that more than freaking, then let me know. I'm sure one person would be very annoyed by that. Would be Diddy. All right, let's go to the next piece. North Korean troops crossed into South before warning shots, UN command says. You guys know my opinion. If you've been with me for any amount of time, my opinion about North Korea is that, well, they could be a puppet. They could be, most likely, I think they're a puppet of China. They are also this kind of like demilitarized zone themselves, not for them against, South Korea, but more so kind of this area. And we'll go over to the map here. That China sees a very, very big kind of benefit of having North Korea be here instead of a U.S. ally or somebody that they wouldn't want. North Korea is kind of this buffer zone, right? You've got Japan, you've got South Korea, you've got Taiwan, you of course have the Philippines, you have all of these in these oceans out here, and then of course you've got North Korea. Up above, you've of course got Russia. So you have this kind of buffer of these crazy North Koreans. Well, as far as North Korea, I think that we're going to see North Korea versus South Korea very soon. I think that it is going to be a coordinated event where it all pops off at once. Now that sounds crazy. So does like, are you trying to say that all of the world's governments coordinated on some massive fake event? That's crazy. Because that couldn't happen, right? Of course it couldn't. Dex, the North Koreans, they have a picture here. Let me show this picture. You know my opinion about this. I think something's huge is going on with North Korea and South Korea, especially with the president, everything else that I mentioned earlier. Getting taken out and swapped out for a North Korean friendly president. I think this is a regime change kind of operation that instead of the U.S. for once, it is actually run by China. Dex, what do you think?
Well, it's certainly true that a lot of the political leaders that have been elected and been, paid for, if you want to call it that, have been very supportive of China. They've been very China leading. So to see that growth there, some could say you see that in other countries too. Some could even say you've seen it in our country. But certainly, but in this case, look, North Korean troops, they crossed the DMZ. They literally last week crossed the DMZ. The investigation has come out and said, hey, they were broadcasted to. They were sent them messages to halt. They told them not to come any closer. They continued to march forward, and then they started firing warning shots to get them to back off. That's coming out of the UN command investigation, saying, hey, nothing nefarious happened here, at least from the warning shot side. They were warned not to cross. They started to cross, and they were fired upon.
This tells me that it's only a matter of time before there's going to be a war. They're pushing, they're testing, they're seeing how. Well, I think that they're probably. What do you think, Dex? They're looking for a response or testing the response of South Korea, seeing how much they can push, or
it's possible, or they're preparing. They're preparing the lands there, the DMZ areas. We've seen them. They've seen them prepare the roads. We've seen them build up in clear fields, so they have clearer shots and clear out areas that are strategic for visibility. They've been doing a lot in preparation. It's also a heavily mined area. We've also seen some people just stray off the path and lose their lives because they do the wrong thing and step on a landmine. That has happened too. But certainly there is a lot of angst between the countries, and North Korea is definitely one, I think, to instigate, and they definitely like to push the edge of everything with the missile launches and everything else. And they just announced again today, been said before, that Trump wants to meet with Kim, and he's announced that to the South Korean president. So,
yeah, and the timing of the all of the different announcements that happen, it's all connected. I mean, it seems just crazy timing for the meeting for that to happen, and this is going on. So that excavator, is that theirs? That's not troops walking past it. That's them pushing forward. Is that troops moving forward with an excavator?
That's North Korean troops building a road near the DMZ.
So, and they blew up all the other roads. They blew up all the other roads and the railroads. So they blew up what the South Koreans would have used, but now they're making their own as low key as they can so they can put a battle plan together, whereas South Korea might be always behind a step because they're not there watching every second on every piece of the DMZ. That's what I think. I mean... Obviously, why else? They blew up all of the other connections. Now they're rebuilding. This isn't for peace negotiations. This is for a surprise attack. They also, I'll go back to, it could be predictive programming. It could be propaganda. But I remember them saying that they believe that a North Korean attack on South Korea could be much like what happened in Israel on the 7th. Now, I know everybody is going to, be on a different side of that. Whether you think that was, propaganda, I wouldn't even say propaganda, or an op, or a Fantastic Freddy, this could be too. An event where they go in and you're like, well, how did they not see this? We've been watching these stories where they're building these roads and doing all this. Watch an event where North Korea goes in, takes out, key critical areas before they even respond. So you got troops that move in and take a few key, very strategic points and attack South Korea, or even attack civilians or attack residential areas before they can even respond. That's something I could see happen, and people would be like, how did they not see this coming? And that's the big question with other countries. It's like, hey, this country's got the best surveillance in the world, Israel. How did they not see something like this coming, right? It's a good question. Could something like that happen in North Korea with South Korea? Before we move on, make sure to go check out Energy if you haven't already. This is one of our absolutely favorite affiliates. We have not actually talked about Energy for a long while, and that is not because we don't like them. It is because the regular Flex 1500, which looks just like this one, has been put on pause and pretty much indefinitely because it was they have this new contract with the U.S. Army. Now, right now, they have a batch in. So these are the tacticals. So these are the same one that won the SBIR Phase 2 contract for the U.S. Army. And these are the tough generators. These things are made to frickin', strap onto the back of a Humvee. These things are tough. They're weather resistant. Of course, they've got a built-in heater for extreme cold temperatures. If you've ever had a solar generator of any kind, then you know solar anything or electric anything has difficulties with different extreme temperatures. So this thing is absolutely awesome if it gets too warm, fan. If it gets too cold, heater. It's just one of the most badass generators out there, especially if you had the Flex. This is a awesome upgrade. Especially with those latches. Quickly take either 5 batteries, 44 batteries, or click, and you've got 1 battery with you that you can take and charge your tools, use your appliances anywhere. The cool thing about solar generators is you can take them with you and you can power almost anything, right? With these, though, make sure to look at the capacities. If you want a higher capacity and a bigger version, also go to our website. Go check out some of the other suggestions over there as well. But this has a batch. You won't be waiting 6 months, 8 months, 9 months like some Fugel family members were when they were selling the Flex and others. They have a batch currently, and when those sell out, they are gone. You will have to wait until something like this happens again. They are, people waited almost a year to get their hands on these 2 years ago, and now they just don't sell them at all. So this batch is really rare, so make sure to go check it out. marfugelnews.com/energy, INERGY. And then Chinese companies buying up lands across New Hampshire under scrutiny. Well, no duh. I just talked about this yesterday, Dex, or I think it was the day before that. How, it's really, really obvious the buying of the houses and buying of the land. You see these companies and you're like, why are they buying this up? Why are they buying houses that are worth $1 million? They might be going like 1.2 million. And these companies that are tied potentially straight to the CCP are like, we'll give you $2 million. We'll give you twice the asking price. That sounds insane. It sounds like a bad business prospect. But if they're doing it, if they are losing, $800,000 to get that piece of land, why? Why is it so important they snatch up so much land? Dex, do you want to talk about these Chinese companies snatching up land across New Hampshire? This is really creepy.
Oh, it's pretty concerning to the folks there, at least some of the people that are bringing it to light, especially as we've seen these land buys from China in around other sensitive locations. So in particular, they're looking at a couple of military installations, BAE being one of the defense contractors there, and installations such as a new Boston Space Force base. And they're saying it can threaten the state of security for the nation, and that more people need to be looking into it, and they need to be understanding what's going on and why are they doing this. And, a lot of people think that this investment from China is, part of a land grab. It's part of sometimes it's positioning to be near critical military locations so that they can have the ability to spy on it or more. And some are believing it's just the opportunity for them to own more of America, in addition to the influence they've already put on our government officials, unofficially, so to speak, as we've seen over the years. So it's definitely a hot topic. I know it's one that's been talked about in lots of other locations. It just came to light, I guess, just recently in New Hampshire with a handful of these purchases that are just seem to be lining up close to a lot of critical locations.
Yeah, and as far as, this is just in New Hampshire. Almost everybody here, or should be almost everybody here, if you didn't know, people have been following this since, I would say almost during CV, right? During the 2019 thing that we all went through. Midway through that, there was a map put out that people made the connection that a lot of these chunks of land that were being bought up by certain companies that were completely tied to the CCP just happened to overlay a map of all of our military bases. This is the same time period where we had just countless tens and tens and tens of thousands. Oh, sorry. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my goodness. 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 Oh, flippin', flippin', flippin'. Flippin', flippin', flippin'. Flippin', flippin', flippin'. Oh. Sorry about that, Dex. That was the worst leg cramp ever. Oh. It is live.
That didn't look like fun.
It is live. Anything can happen. Whew. You know when you put your leg under your chair, and I think everybody's done this, where you feel like it's about, and you like try to save it, and then you just barely move it, and you're like, nope, it's happening. Somebody should do a meme freaking of a cramp that's like about to get out, and then they're like, no, stay in here, and then they just bust out running. Whoo! But what I was going to say is Dex, I was talking about how this overlays with all the... and then this is the same time that tens and tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands, and honestly, new numbers are possibly saying in the millions of military-age males wearing fatigues and buzz cuts coming in big groups into our southern border in a very sneaky and shady way, all the way through the Darien Gap. I'll just show you this over on the map here. When you go to this, I wish I had my other zoom in mouse thing here. But if you look at this map, you'll see a lot of these, the Chinese military 18 to 25-year-old males, they came in all the way down here. They would even go into Colombia and Ecuador, and they would travel all the way through here, through the Darien Gap. This is the Darien National Park. And it just so happens that somebody's spending millions of dollars in the Darien Gap building bridges capable of even, they called it tank-wide, bridges in the middle of the jungle to support possible vehicles in an area where pretty much everybody had to just go by foot. Why are they building it so even bigger, possibly even military vehicles can come through this? I don't know. Why are we developing the Golden Dome? Why is it like serious insanity trying to crack down on immigration? Now, I understand completely why anybody would agree, hey, these people all came in illegally in a bunch of numbers. But then you really look like how extreme we are responding to it now. That just shows you how extreme it was bringing them in. Saying, oh, come on down, we'll take you in. And then over 3 years at the very end saying, oh, no, don't come. If you come, you're going to be turned around. When in reality, these people, including some of the nastiest bad guys you've ever seen, were coming through our border and even getting caught. And then the borders control agents, in a lot of cases, they would have to say, hey, well, here's your court date. They would have to release them. And they'd say, hey, when you have that court date, that's when we'll do a background check. I mean, that's pure insanity. And we found that out. That was through leaked information and then confirmed. I mean, what the hell's really going on here? It looks like an invasion. Of course, that's been politicized, so that's a scary thing to say, right? You're insensitive, or you're the R word, or you're this. I think you guys are all on the same page with me. Most of you, it's not the people of the country that we have a problem with. It's the government of those countries. The Chinese people, I have lots of friends that are either half or a quarter or full Chinese, and they're awesome people. But of course, the Chinese government, that's a different story. Most of these countries, as far as Venezuela, Iran, Israel, some of you may have the friendliest people you've ever dealt with in your local store that might be full Iranian or full anything, and they're great. That doesn't mean their government is. So, this whole thing, it seems like it's unraveling really just right in front of our eyes, and people are just kind of slow, kind of extra. As slow as my leg cramp crept up on me. Dex, let's talk about Trump. And says he could rename the Defense Department to what?
Well, it's going to be time for war. So we're going to call it the Department of War, he's saying. He's saying that's actually going to be coming soon. He thinks it's the right thing to be doing. And why would we rename our Department of Defense the Department of War? Not because we're in peacetime, but because we're going into wartime.
Yeah, and people look at stories like this and don't even see it. This is going to just fade away. In a couple of days, nobody's going to talk about this. And I bet you, judging on the patterns of this president, that it will be renamed. If he says something like this, it's not like a light joke. And 2 weeks later, like, oh, you guys still going to rename it? Yeah, actually, we've already had the meeting on it, and it's going to be renamed the Department of War. It's the Department of Defense. It's been DOD for as long as I've been covering this. If they actually change it to Department of War, I mean, that's kind of a big deal. Dex, I don't know how many agencies and groups like this have changed over the years. I mean, obviously, we have a lot of them which evolved and changed into something else. I mean, didn't CIA used to mean something else, or it had a different acronym? FBI used to have, they all have a root, and they expanded or divided, almost split like a stalk. As far as this goes, a Department of War, that sounds a whole lot less defensive.
Well, it certainly does. I mean, the whole notion of defense is that we're just going to defend ourselves. We're not going to be in wartime, or we're not going to be in an offensive position. Although many would say America has often lived in an offensive position when you look at everything we've done to influence and change regimes and overthrow governments around the globe and get involved in the interest of oil or in the interest of the Western countries to make our lives better. And that's, I guess, part of what our history has been, what our allies have done as well, and what we'll probably continue to do. I think every country is always in it for themselves and doing what's best for themselves. Even though they try to help others along the way, they're certainly not going to do things to the demise of themselves, because that wouldn't be beneficial.
Yeah. Colby Wilson says, America, F yeah, here to save the MF and day. Somebody said the Department of Fences. Yeah, that could be it too. But that's the thing. It's not just building a border wall now. It's building a space weapon to defend every civilian city. The Golden Dome, I would say it's the Department of War, because at that point they're making something. They're crossing the line that, of course, I think Russia and China have already crossed, but they're not public about it. Well, I can't say that either, huh? Dex, because didn't China publicly came out with a satellite that could take out other satellites, either by clamp or by laser, and so did Russia. So isn't that kind of, they've released a weapon in space?
Yeah, and we've talked about it too. And we've done maneuvers. We've done specialized maneuvers to show that we can get up and close and personal and track these other satellites. So I think we've all done it. I think we've all shown ways to jam, and we've all shown ways to potentially even attempt to take out with energy weapons from the ground even. But that's mostly been jamming, but also can be disabling, which I wouldn't think of it as exploding, but making it inoperable is just as good, right?
Yeah. And as far as, taking out satellites, that's one thing. But this system, the Golden Dome that is being put into place, if, a lot of people doubt that this is going to exist. I think that this is going to be a massive, massive escalation. I think that they already see a timeline of something that's going on. And this Golden Dome, I think they're hoping that they're going to get it done in time. I mean, he stated that he hopes to have it done before the end of his term. Now, Dex, over the 25 days that we haven't done shows, one thing I didn't see much of is the update of like how Elon and the president are getting along. Because Elon was at one point, right before this fight, the number one runner-up for the contracts for the Golden Dome. Not Boeing, I'm sure. Has there been any updates of that? Have you seen anything? I haven't.
I don't think SpaceX's position is going away. They're the leader in deploying and bringing equipment and shipping, so to say. Like, they're the UPS of space right now. They're the ones that are going to get it there. So unless somebody else comes along and can prove it in the next year, I don't see how anybody else can really be in a position to take on that role, because they send so much up, and they do it efficiently, and they do it in a proven way. I mean, and if they ever get, what is it, Starship, the new one, which I think was supposed to launch today or tomorrow, but then got postponed due to some ground stuff that they want to work out. But that one keeps having lots of anomalies, as they call them, as they continue to test it. But once that one gets normalized, like their other rockets, that's going to be huge. I mean, that's a massive payload that's going to be going up and down, and in a reusable way. So when you think of cost per pound or launch costs to put up equipment like what it will be needed for the Golden Dome, I don't see anybody else stepping up in that short a period of time. So I don't think that's going anywhere.
Oh, I forgot he existed for a minute. Dang it. Now I remember. I wonder if you're talking about Elon. Honestly, the whole fight between them, I still wonder if it is, if it was fake for some sort of long-term 4D chess move. I don't know. Because nothing came of any of the claims by either one of them. And most people have forgotten by now. That big rocket you're talking about, Dex, it is so crazy because I know there's so many, there's going to be a big chunk of people here that just don't even want to hear about anything space related. But those rockets, it is pretty crazy that Elon Musk has developed and is part of almost every part that would be involved in the very, very uber rich moving off planet. The Optimus bot, for us to colonize Mars, we most likely will not be able to go and do it. You're not going to have 100 humans show up first like they have in the movies, but you would have 100 Optimus bots, right? These big rockets, they could carry all sorts of different gear and mobile structures. Think about this: if those Optimus bots are going ahead of us, what if there are already some there constructing things, and there's things that are being constructed on other places, or on the cheese satellite, the moon? Neuralink, the system that he is also involved in, that would be a crucial system, and I would think that would be tied into if you had to do a 5-year trip in space and they put you to sleep for it. I would think that Neuralink could assist in that. The Boring Company, drilling holes. Like the other theory that I have is that maybe there's something coming to the United States, or to the world, that we don't know about. Some sort of disaster, like they know that the moon is going to get destroyed and throw the Earth off kilter or something. And they're digging these deep underground bases for those on Earth. And they're also trying to do this crapshoot and get off of the planet. And then the SpaceX, obviously. And then, and then the battery technology to keep these robots going. Tesla and the battery technology that goes along with that. And then, of course, SpaceX to launch it. It's like every company that he is involved in, it seems like it is very centered around this. And he had kind of a basic plan of this years and years and years ago, almost as if he was part of that rich, influential crowd back then that got the memo of something, right? I mean, we've all seen the asteroid movies where they keep it secret until last minute. Well, what if they are? What's even odder about that theory too is that there have been these little stories that have added into it over the years. If you remember, quite a few years ago, that YouTube shut down all the way across the planet, and some believed that it was to get rid of a video or a live stream of a military member that was streaming, and it immediately started picking up hundreds of thousands of people, like 200,000+ people watching a live stream of this military gentleman essentially talking to the chat, saying that the moon, it was not the Earth that was going to get hit by an asteroid in the next few years, that it was the moon. And he was freaked out, scared, horrified. And then he was talking about this. It gathered a huge audience. It's kind of like a busker on the street starts juggling, and one person stands, then 5 people, and then all of a sudden now the whole street's surrounding this juggler. Well, that's what I imagine this was. I didn't see it myself, but it was covered across the platform. Some people believe that it was shut down to basically cut out any video of that instance ever. And what even gave credence to that, after that, the New Zealand event happened. If you remember that video, the horrible bang bang event, where that guy went through with a GoPro and streamed it on YouTube, changed YouTube forever. They shut down YouTube in a very similar fashion and wiped all of those videos from it because so many people were sharing it. And then just recently, in the last couple months, they have recently said that this asteroid that they've been following that had a chance that just kept going up from 1.6 to 1.9 to 2.3 to blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what the name of this asteroid was. You can pop it in the chat. All of a sudden had like a 1 in 36 chance of hitting the Earth. Well, now they're saying, oh, it very well might hit the moon. I think that's wild, because now you're saying that big one, it might not have done as much damage to the Earth, but if it hits the moon, it could put it off kilter, and then all of a sudden you have massive disasters all across the planet. So it is kind of weird, right? Wouldn't it make more sense? And I know some of you will never believe in it and say it's totally fake and everybody's special and extra and they're dumb and just stupid for even talking about it. But wouldn't it explain a lot more of people's actions, like Zuckerberg, building a $270 million mansion bunker thing, how Bill Gates has one under all of his properties and he's the most connected person in the world, having, he's one of the only few regular people that's not a president or something that's had Xi Jinping at his house. That's crazy. So it makes you wonder, like so many of these other things, these other pieces of the puzzle would fit a lot better if there was a massive disaster heading our way, especially people like Elon Musk making all of the things he does. It would make sense. Dex, go ahead.
They won't have to shut YouTube down in the near future when this stuff happens again. I just read that they are testing the use of AI on people's videos without them knowing. Now they're saying it's for, a nice feature. Like let's take a short that somebody uploads and we'll put AI on it without them knowing and have it alter the video so that it makes the background a little clearer, makes their image and face look better, does all these different types of things to it. But technically what they're doing is altering videos with AI. So I think in the future, when something like that happens, they won't have to take the whole platform down to remove it. They're going to be able to take AI and just alter the video and change what they need to change so that the people don't get the information that they might need to get.
Spectre, get your gear on, says Wormwood. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stories that have happened over the years, and it really makes you wonder. There's also another YouTube thing that they are doing, which is an AI system that is judging how old you are. And this is happening with a lot of companies. Hey, Dex, have you read anything about this yet? About the age verification stuff?
It's all about getting the identity, building the need for having identity online so that we get to a point where we're forced to give up our credentials, some form of credentials, so that they know who we are. and they're going to start, like right now it's adult entertainment that's being hit, but it won't be much longer before the social medias go from, when it's happened in the past. I mean, I remember when you might lose your Facebook account and you'd have to show them your driver's license to get it proven that you're legitimately that person and get your account back.
We had that happen with our the fan club, right?
We did, yeah. We've seen that ourselves. So, we're not that far off from what they're doing in the UK, which is requiring identification for sites. And then it's not just adult entertainment sites; it's also anything that can be put in the category as harmful for children, and that harmful for children can be all the way down to a lower age, or even following COPA laws here in America, that's 13 years and older. So you can easily see how that can cause, everything from social media to YouTube or other platforms like that to have an age policy or an age identification system. And they're all scrambling to test these things, but we ultimately know what's coming. And that is these government policies where they're going to put identification in, where we have to identify ourselves.
I'm gonna pull this up. This is, I mean, even in the video game world is talking about this. This was a video by This Is It that you've probably seen these guys. Let's see here. So you've probably seen these guys. Let me put it on here. You've probably seen the guy on the right mostly, but they're talking about GTA 6, right? Many people are looking forward to this. Even I'm sure there's probably people around my age and younger, maybe even a little bit older, that have played Grand Theft Auto at some point in their youth. GTA 5 has been out for like 12 years, and then the ones before that, 25 years ago. So some of you probably played, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're saying because of this game, and this game is giant, like insane. It's one of the biggest money makers in history. It's made more money than countries. It is making some group of people super powerful. That is crazy to think about that there's so much money involved in that specific game. But the GTA 6, it is crazy what they're talking about. Dex, I don't know if you heard about this, but they are even talking about the NPCs in the game. So imagine you're running around GTA 6. You have a full-on mic equipped to your face. You talk to an NPC and you say, hey, screw off. And the NPC is essentially a chat GPT, every one of them, and they respond to you. And say you can walk up to an NPC and say, hey, do you know what time it is? And they'll say, 4:50. Or they could randomly go, you know what, I'm not going to tell you. I mean, that's just crazy. And it's so much so that they're talking about the size of the game is going to be so big that part of it is going to be, offloaded to servers and things. Now, some of you say, I don't even care about that. But the thing is, now they're saying that this is also going to play into this whole AI and age restriction thing. And this is happening across the board. So you're seeing the subjects that we talk about here now being talked about by almost every category, because they are going to affect the way we live, the way we consume, the way we watch. People like me, I don't know how long we'll even be around.
Yeah, and well, Roblox is one of them that had to do the age verification too. But yeah, and look, don't get confused when you go to one of these sites and all of a sudden you're doing age verification and it's a third party and you think it's okay because it's a third party like Yoti or ID.me. I mean, ID.me doesn't do age verification for these services yet. But if you don't know who ID.me is the authentication system that's used by the federal government, but it's a third party. So it identifies people that work in the military or have military credentials or former military. It identifies people at the IRS. When you fill out for your IRS, anything in the IRS, you got to get an ID.me account to go online. Okay, but then ID.me is a third party. So these third party systems, whether it's Yoti, ID.me, Verif, Subsum, Defendo, there's a handful of them out there, age checked. They do these services for these companies, but they also take that same information and they provide those services to governments. And it's very easy for a government like America or the UK to say, yeah, it's no problem. We'll do age verification. We'll let third parties handle it. They still get the information because they just go get it from the third party. It's much different than the way they do it in China. China says China's going to do it all. The government's going to run it all. And then you go, oh, well, it's this horrible social, ecosystem that is managing the people. Well, it's the same thing here. It's just that they make it look like something different, and they just get the information from the third party.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this kind of situation over the years, and I mean, it's really turned into something that will quickly affect you, and it is actually worth talking about in a future show. So I would love if somebody could point me in the direction of a guest. I would love to have him here. This new studio, again, there's still things to be ironed out, but I would love to have like somebody in person and come on the show. That's not something I could ever do in our previous location. So Colby Wilson, thank you so much. Judy Bailey, thank you, and thank you. Stephanie Cook says, so good to see you back. Adam and Dex, big love. Don't forget the mods. Thank you, mods. Again, thank you. And thank you, Jonathan Fleming, Douglas Naval. And thank you. I have seen so many people pushing for the likes. Those likes actually do help the current algorithm share this out to new people. So then we have more people in chat. It's a better conversation. But it also helps us get a subscriber. I mean, everybody says, well, we need subscribers. We don't care about the number. We've been floating around the same for a long time. But it does mean new people. Even if they want to take 100 a day and we get 102, that's 2 new people that we reach. Not to mention, that the higher that number goes as far as the subscriber count, the better people that we could possibly have on as a guest. It really does matter. People under 1 million subscribers, which is crazy. It used to be a lot different. If you're under 1 million subscribers, people are like, you got a slight hobby. And that's pretty much what it's turned into. So if you can get us, let's get to 1 million by the end of 2050. Okay. That is done through likes and things like that. So thank you guys. I've seen a whole crew of the Foogle fam pushing for people to get to 1,000. I appreciate that. I really do. James Handyman, thank you. GIA, Special Agent, God's Intelligence Agency. I love it. And then Judy Bailey, Stealth Mode, and so many more. Thank you. Thank you. I do want to remind you guys, make sure to go check out Jace. It's a very, very, very easy system as far as you essentially talk to a board-certified doctor. You get a kit sent right to your door discreetly, and it has all of your most commonly prescribed antibiotics. So that way, if something happens, say, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. It could be an earthquake or a disaster, a hurricane. Somebody gets a huge cut and it gets infected or something like that. You have these on hand for a situation like that. Antibiotics are a blessing and a curse in some ways too. Talking about superbugs and things like that. But as far as this goes, this is a very, very easy thing to do, and you'll have them on hand right at your fingertips. It's called a Jace case. Make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com/Jace. Again, that is marfooglenews.com/Jace. And also check out the Jace Daily. It's another service that they have. If you know somebody that has a prescription that if you're worried about in an emergency event, if they will have that prescription, Jace Daily, certain medications, you can actually get up to a year of extra medications, and it will they'll give you a year up front, and then it will rotate in, and you can rotate that into your regular prescription, and you will always have a year of your medications. marfooglenews.com/Jace. Again, thank you guys for coming tonight. Thank you, James Handyman. I appreciate that. Thank you, Stephanie Cook. I believe you are our top supporter tonight. And I think there's a couple right behind you, though. So thank you, everybody that supported tonight. Thank you for everybody that popped in. Thank you, Dex. Thank you for your service today. I appreciate you.
Much love, and good night, everybody.
Make sure to join us tomorrow for the next show. And this new location, once we get settled, like today, there was an issue 25 minutes over DisplayPort cord. I tested everything for this setup. One little cord did not work, and one thing we didn't test, and boom. So that was my fault. I'm not going to say it was, I'm not going to make an excuse. That was my fault. So I apologize for the wait on today's show. I will do better. All right, you guys, have a wonderful night. Be blessed, James and everybody else. Love you guys. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a it's a where's Echo? It's a shout. It's a shout drum. It's a shoutro. Oh, there it is. Wait. It's a shoutro. Have a good night.
The flag above you, is it the same one? You think you wonder. I said I wonder, I wonder. Is someone taking over under the golden dome? Wonder, the flag above you, is it the same one? You think you wonder. I said I wonder, the flag above you, is it the same one? You think you wonder. I said I wonder, I wonder, is someone taking over under the golden dome?